So SB-145. Everybody, like I said, if you heard
I don't
about
know
it,
anything about this.
if you heard about it from the left, you might have heard it was oh my God, California is legalizing pedophilia. And I'm seeing a number of things online where they're talking about, oh Jesus, now if you're 20 years old, you can have, or if you're 18, you can have sex with an 8-year-old and it's okay. Or if you're 24 years old, you can have sex with a 14-year-old and it's okay. Turns out, as I was doing my research, and this is the same thing we saw with Nick Sandmann, the same thing we saw with George Floyd, the same thing we see with all of these incidents. If you just go off of the initial reporting you hear on it,
what is this?
You're gonna come off. I will. You're gonna come off looking like an idiot. But if you take the time to actually research it and figure out what's going on, what's the background, what is the So if from what I ascertain, from what I understand, SB-145, what it does is it changes the laws that were currently in place, which was the original law was something like this. If I am, say, 22 years old and I have sex with my 16, 17-year-old girlfriend, I will go to court. I will get in trouble for statutory rape,
right.
But it was up to the judge's discretion whether or not to actually put me. It was up to the judge's discretion whether or not I was required to register on the sex offenders registry for the rest of my life. Okay, This only applied to vaginal sex. It only applied to people from between the ages of 14 and 17. It only applied to those who were 10 years within 10 years gap.
Okay.
So at the very farthest extremes, which to me is not the best numbers, but that is how the laws were, is if I'm 24 years old, I could have sex, or I think it was 24 down to 15. I think 15 was...
A 24-year-old having sex with a 15-year-old.
You could do that.
You're going to get a bullet in the back of the head from me if that was my daughter.
Right, and I agree with that. What happens is you would get in trouble. You could be prosecuted.
Dead.
You would end up being prosecuted, going to jail, all that stuff. All that stuff was still in place. But the key difference was if you are within that specific range. It was like different levels of pedophilia. You know, you had your level 1, you know, the low level was like, okay, I'm 18 and I'm having sex with my 16-year-old girlfriend. I'm getting in trouble for statutory rape. I go to jail. And now I have to, I'll have to register if the judge says I have to. This is all vaginal, keep in mind.
Yeah.
Okay. So that was the original law, the original intention.
Okay.
What SB-145 does is it extends that to anal and oral as well.
Good.
Basically, it just makes it so that if I have anal sex with my underage victim, if you will, I will go to jail under the original law.
Uh-huh.
If it was anal or anything other than vaginal, the judge was required, no questions asked. The judge did not have discretion whether or not to put you on a sex registry. You had to register for the rest of your life.
So what's the problem here?
Because if you in California's laws, if you're 18 years old and you're having sex with your 17-year-old girlfriend, and say the parents decide to press charges, and you had anal sex with your 17-year-old girlfriend, then you would if it was vaginal, the judge could decide whether or not to have you register, be on the sex offender registry for the rest of your life. If it was anal or vaginal, the judge did not have discretion. If it was anal or oral or anything other than vaginal, the judge had to automatically, no matter what, you were on the sex offender registry.
It needs to be all the way across the board.
And that's what they've done. They've made it so that it's across the board, no matter what.
I don't care if it's a year apart. You should still be registered as a sex offender. You know at 18 that you're not supposed to be having sex with a minor. I don't give a shit if it's 6 months apart. I don't care if it's a week apart. You know better. You can wait a week. You can wait 6 months. You can wait a year.
Here's the thing. I kind of feel like if you're within a couple years, that's probably, it's a gray area. Some people
are you actually saying that? Surely to God, you're not thinking that.
I'm saying if I'm 17 and I have a 15-year-old girlfriend, and I did, if I became 18 and she's just turned 16, under California law, I can get in trouble.
As you should.
And again, you're talking
an
about a
adult
couple years
by-
different. Now they would still get in trouble. That's fine. And I get what you're saying. They would still get in trouble. That's fine. And even under the new law, they still get in trouble.
Yeah.
The only difference is whether or not they have to register for the rest of their life as a sex offender. Again, there's different levels. You think about a 30-year-old having sex with a 10-year-old. Fuck yeah. That person's getting put on a sex registry. That dude's a monster. But I wouldn't say that we need to ruin an 18-year-old's life for having sex with a 16-year-old girlfriend. You don't need to, maybe, obviously he still got the penalties of having to go to jail for statutory rape. He still gets the charges.
I understand where you're coming from.
You got to think about this. When you register on a sex offender registry, it's there for life. People look you up and they think, automatically people kind of assume and they think the worst. So they may see you. I'm 45 years old.
I'm just old fashioned, or
I'm picturing.
I'm just a little closed minded to this. I don't know.
Yeah, and maybe, and that's all right. But what I'm saying is, if say I'm 45 years old, I was 18, had sex with my 17-year-old girlfriend, and under California law, I had anal, so I had to be put on the registry for the rest of my life. I'm like, dude, she was almost 18, yet according to these laws, now I'm a registered sex offender for the rest of my life. Good luck trying to find a job or operate or grow or, change your ways or, I wouldn't consider that a pedophilic move. That's not pedophilia, first of all.
Okay.
Just by the definition. There's a different word for it and we always forget it.
No, I understand that. I get what you're saying, but
So yes, while I may not agree with the specifics of the age of the laws,
right?
Okay, I don't agree with that. But what I do understand is what the conservatives are out there saying is, oh my God, California just legalized pedophilia. No, that is not what happened. What the only thing that happened is it changed the distinction from, rather than only being vaginal sex that the judge could decide on whether or not you register, it's now extended to anything, anal or
it just
whatever.
Sounds like this law needs to be rewritten somewhere.
Well, yeah, I agree with. We're not. We can debate the numbers. We can debate the original law, but what is being said is inaccurate. What is being said currently is that California is legalized pedophilia, and that's not the case at all. First of all, pedophilia does not fall for anybody 14 and up. Pedophilia is 13 and down, prepubescent. There's another word for that. Again, I can't remember it off the top of my head.
We talked about that too.
Yes.
I cannot remember that.
And if somebody could please refresh my mind on what the actual word is for that, between, when you're pubescent but not quite legal, not quite out of that minor territory. There's a specific word for that. But the thing is, it's not legalizing pedophilia. All it's doing is making it so that basically the LGBTQ community is not getting hit harder than the straight community over this law. If I'm a gay guy having sex with my gay boyfriend and the age difference is such that I fall in within these parameters, if it's a straight couple doing it, the judge can decide to let him off or not let him off, but have him register or not. If I'm gay, on the other hand, judge don't get no discretion. Automatic, I'm on that list for the rest of my life. And that is not fair. That's not fair to them.
I see where you're going with that. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, that's literally all that's changed in this bill.
Look, okay.
Now, if there's some additional wording in the bill that I missed, and maybe you can bring that to my attention, I will stand corrected 100%. But I just want to make it very, very, very clear. Y'all need to pull your heads out of your ass and understand it's not legalizing pedophilia. That is not what's going on.
Right.
At all.
I hate having these conversations.
It's a tough one.
No, and it's not that it's tough. It's just, you got kids, I got kids.
Yeah.
I got a little girl.
Yeah.
And
I had the same issue. I don't want to get into personal details, but needless to say, I did find out that Tennessee has a 4-year gap. California don't have that. California is more strict. Yes. Tennessee has a 4-year gap. If the people that are with each other are within 4 years, there's nothing I can do as a parent. I can't press charges for statutory rape.
The back of my 45 in your head is what you're going to feel.
Again, we're playing outside the bounds of legal. But yeah, there's a 4-year gap. If say my daughter was 16 years old having sex with a 20-year-old.
No. That's going to get a body at the bottom of the lake.
What I'm saying is legally, there's nothing I can do about it as a parent in Tennessee. Now, if you don't agree with the laws, maybe it's time to stand up and say something.
Yeah,
So I
no
do.
shit.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to turn my attention away from the comments for so long, but I did want to make sure that this was abundantly clear. Okay, so Robin Martinez says from Facebook,
Hey,
she
Carrie.
says, California has a bill on the floor to classify pedophilia as a sexual orientation, so there's that. Okay, that might be, and a bill on the floor is different than a bill passed. I'll agree with that. If that's what's going on, I 100% disagree with that. All my point is, for this particular topic in this particular, within the boundaries of this particular discussion, is just to correct the record that no, California is not trying to legalize pedophilia with SB 145.
Sounds like a sunscreen still.
Okay.